Yeah, hi all. So this is Ravi from Uplatz, and in continue with our earlier sessions. So today we are discussing about the perimeter server and how to configure the perimeter server and benefits of perimeter server, and then so on. Okay. So let's go to our today's topic is perimeter server. So usage in our Sterling Integrator. So first of all, what is perimeter server? Okay. So a perimeter server is a communication a software that can be installed in a demilitarized zone. So DMZ is nothing but our networking. So demilitarized zone and manages communications of flows between the perimeter network and then SI TCP based transporter network means between the outside and inside. Simply you can say. Okay. So a type of a software that restricts so only trusted partners only will allow to enter our network from the external. Okay, that is nothing but an perimeter server. Okay, so a perimeter network is a computer network that is placed between a secure internal network and an unsecure external network to provide an additional layer of security. So if you understand, that's what I said. So a perimeter server is an added layer of security. So between the internal and external networks. So a perimeter server communicates with SI through the perimeter servers. So a perimeter server acts as a subsystem supporting the multiple point and secure perimeter network for B2B communication protocols. So with the help of communication protocols only, right, we'll transfer the data from here to there. So this one supports as a security prime perimeter network. So perimeter server consists of the following components. So whenever you perimeter server you install on the DMZ, demilitarized zone, so remote perimeter server, and also perimeter server is pre-installed in Sterling Integrator as a local perimeter server. So without installing only we'll have some perimeter servers local PS. Okay, and perimeter server API. So that communication adapters in Sterling Integrator use perimeter servers local and remote to use multi-homing and perimeter network traversal functionalities. So perimeter server configuration management components is Sterling Integrated interface. Okay, there are different components we use and we have some jar files to be installed. Later I will show you. Okay. So this is a typical figure of how the Sterling Integrator is with perimeter servers. Okay. So if you see here something any partner they're sending the files over internet. This is the one. Okay. So different partners. This is partner one. So this is partner one, partner two, and partner three. So using internet, they will send the files to our Sterling integrator. Okay. So Sterling integrated system. This is a Sterling integrator system. Okay. So different partners, they'll send the files over internet through the firewall. So this is the DMZ zone, demilitarized zone. So here we will install the perimeter server. Okay. So this internal server, internet, before sending to the firewall, here the perimeter server checks as a gatekeeper whether this partner is trusted or not. So like that it will check whether this partner is trusted or not. So this partner, whenever the partner is trusted, so we'll have some IPs are there, IP binding, like internal IP and external IP. So whenever the file coming with an external IP, like here, if you see external IP. So external IP. So then it will convert them to internal IP. So here external IP will be there after receiving and checks the data and come to the firewall with internal IP, and then so data can be sent to Gentron integration suite or Sterling integrator. Okay. So with the configuration of HTTP server adapter, HTTP server adapter is configured. So configuration perimeter server 2 and perimeter server 3. So this is the different ways of communication of firewalls and then perimeter server in Sterling integrator. Okay. So this is how the firewall interacts and perimeter server is installed. So the installation of perimeter server is a big chapter, like how to install and everything. So we have some jar files that to be installed. Okay, that I will show you now. Okay, this preceding figure shows the following. So whatever I have shown you, right? So this figure is a persistence connection established from the perimeter server, so API in Sterling integrator. So the remote perimeter server on the DMZ zone communication with the port number of 4 nines. So if you see here, see the communication port number is 9999. Okay. And then the Sterling integrator has an HTTP server adapter that configure the two scenarios. One is HTTP through port number 9443 and non-security is 99980. Nothing but HTTP and HTTPS. So if you see here, we have two perimeter servers configured in Sterling integrator with the help of HTTP server adapter. So one with 94403 and one with 9980. Okay. So we have system certificate is nothing but we'll have HTTPS connection like HTTPS, whereas in only HTTP. Okay, so non-secure is 9980. So 9980 is non-secure. 9443 is a secure one. Okay, and two trading partners with separate host and port numbers to communicate to the SA. So this is how actually that there while any trading partners will want to connect to us, they can connect to the secure connection HTTP or else non-secure a secure connection HTTPS. And the non-secure connection is HTTP. So if you see here, the two URLs we will be sharing HTTPS company upon port number. So inbound AS2 is our HTTPS server adapter Sterling integrator. So this is secure connection. So HTTP with port number 9980 is non-secured HTTP. So server Sterling adapter through initial port is 9980. So we will configure this all in our Sterling integrator. Okay. And a perimeter server and all adapters communicate with the perimeter server must be configured on the same Sterling integrator node. So a node installation of Sterling integrator or Gentron, a single Sterling integrator node can have multiple configured perimeter servers so associated with it. Okay. So this is how the perimeter server and all adapters that communicate with the perimeter server, whether it's local or external. Okay, you can configure a perimeter server for one trading partner that has a large files and low transaction volume, and another perimeter server on the same node for different part that has smaller files. Actually, we are differentiating the perimeter server for huge partners, like the more transactions or volume will be there, right? For that partner and another small partners with volume is low. So to differentiate, we can install two perimeter servers for those both of them. Okay, you can configure the perimeter server for one trading partner that has large files and low transaction volume, and another perimeter server on the same node for different part of the smaller files. So by configuring each perimeter server according to the trading partner, you can increase the perimeter server in Sterling integrator or Gentron integration suite. Okay, so in this way, we can increase the performance. So all adapters. So initially the all adapters install a specific Sterling integrator can be used in local perimeter configurations. So whenever you install Sterling integrator, we'll have the local PS. Okay, nothing but a local perimeter server. So this helps us to reduce the network congestion issues and scalability for high volume environments through session and thread management, and enhance security by moving security threads further from your secure network and data. So these perimeter servers helps us to reduce the network congestion issues and scalabilities for high volume environments through sessions and then thread managements. Okay, so this can be enhanced secured by moving the security threads from your secure network and the data. So we should use these perimeter servers in the following. So if you want for why when we should we use the perimeter server means, so for example secure communications between the DMZ and Sterling Integrator. So we have an DMZ zone, right, like demilitarized zone. So whenever partner anybody entering there, so we have a perimeter server, right? This perimeter server will stops and check the identity whether this is guy is a trusted or not, then only it will push the data to the Sterling Integrator. Okay, and send data to your customers from perimeter servers as their originating IP address. So vice versa. And also if you want to receive as well as send data to the customers using the help of perimeter servers. Okay, manage security certificates on your secure network and not in a DMZ. So with the help of this, we can also manage the security certificates. And then why we used perimeter server is to enhance the performance and scalability of Sterling Integrator through the sessions and thread management that includes the large number of connections. So to increase the performance and the scalability of Sterling Integrator also, we can use this perimeter server that includes a large connection, a more number of connections. It means that we can use this perimeter server. So for which of the adapters or protocols we use perimeter server means any type of protocols while used to send the communication we can. So we have some client adapters. We will bind that perimeter server client adapter. Then it provides security. So if you see here connect direct server adapter. So we have a connect direct server, that is server adapter. So where we can bind our perimeter server to it. So FTP client adapter and FTP server adapter. If you remember our my sessions earlier while on FTP, so we found that client adapter where we bind the perimeter server to it in the configurations. Okay, in the deployment service configurations, we have the perimeter server to configure it. And then HTTP client adapter and then server adapter. So Oracle e-business adapter, PeopleSoft adapter, transfer adapter, SOAP protocol, and AS2 protocol. So these are the different adapters and protocols where we can bind the perimeter server to it. So for the following scenario describes how an income messages is processed in Sterling Integrator running through perimeter servers. So a trading partner sends the message across the TCP/IP connections. So the messages arrive at designated listening port. So we have some 944809399 something like that, right? So it come to there, that is nothing but demilitarized zone. The remote server on the demilitarized zone send a message to the port number established to the persistence connection of the local perimeter server in Gentron and Sterling adapters. So this remote perimeter server will send a signal via DMZ zone. Okay, establish a persistence connection. In this way, this perimeter server will help us. So far we have seen the inbound. So now the following scenario describes how an outgoing message is processed in Sterling Integrator perimeter servers. Okay, Sterling Integrator sends the messages to the local perimeter in Gentron integration suite or Sterling Integrator, and appropriate adapter which is running already in Sterling Integrator. So the local perimeter server in Sterling Integrator send the messages to the remote. So the here the local and the remote perimeter server will communicate on the DMZ zone. So through the established port number. Already we have configured, right, the port number. So that's where it will communicate. So in the clustered zone, the remote DMZ, like demilitarized zone perimeter server, send a message to the trading partner through the TCP/IP connection to the port specified in your trading partner's agreement, and then only your trading partner will receive the messages. So how to install, and so you can use the perimeter servers when you install Sterling integrated cluster environment. So whenever we can use in clusters also, a cluster is nothing but the two connected copies of the Sterling integrator share the same databases. So two Sterling nodes, but only one database in the background. So a Sterling node is nothing but a copy of the Sterling integrators. So you can use the service groups in your Sterling integrator to cluster, enhancing the load balancing and failure activities. So the cluster will help whenever we have an issue with other nodes, then easily it can jump onto the other nodes. Okay, so a service group, the group's a service adapter that acts as a peers. So if all the service adapters in the service group are configured compatibly, and one of the services in the service group is busy, another service group configuration can pick up the business process and begin the process. This is called the load balancing. So if one is for example, we have two nodes are there. If one is busy and unable to handle, so immediately other node will come into picture and pick up, and then it will process the whatever the business process is there, it will process as soon as possible. So this is called the load balancing. So if one of the services in the group is disabled, another service will pick up the business process. This is called the failover support. So if it is disabled, the same service in another node will the pick up, and then so it's a failover one. Okay. So that the following figure shows the Sterling integrated clustered environment running in the perimeter server. So this is nothing but a clusters. So here if you see, we have it three trading partners sending their files. So via firewall, we have an DMZ. So demilitarized zone, and we will do the perimeter server configuration here. So here perimeter server configuration. This is the internal firewall. This is the external firewall. So in this now, so these are the different trading partners, and we have the firewall here and demilitarized zone here. So we have the perimeter server configurations. Okay, so if you see here, we have the node 1 perimeter server configuration. So node 1 perimeter server configuration 2. So we have two perimeter servers. So one is for the large volume of the number of trading partners, one is a small volume for other trading partners. So this is a node 2, nothing but a cluster only. Okay, so it's cluster in the node 2. So here also we'll have two perimeter servers. And if you see, these two perimeter servers are connecting to the Sterling node 1 and node 2. And these both nodes are sharing the same database, nothing but a cluster. So cluster is nothing but the two nodes, means two different Sterling integrators sharing the same databases. Whenever it when it helps means, so whenever the failure is there, failover stops, or else load balancing. So if you see the currently running business process, okay, in one node 1 is not able to run it. Okay, so now it will wait for some retry time, and then immediately it will run the same business process in another node 2. Okay, so in failover stop means, for example, a Sterling adapter like a SAP suite adapter was disabled in the node 1. So unable hang up. So, but it should be processed. In that case, the same SAP suite adapter will run in the node 2 and it will complete the certain work as per the schedule. Okay, this is how the node 1 and node 2 will work. So if you see here, we have a service group A, service group B. So here they are sending from node 1, we are giving service group and sending into the Sterling server. Similar to that, so node 2 also with the help service group they are sending here. And we have an adapter here, nothing but a cluster adapters where we can have the different nodes sharing the same databases. So the following explains the so the figure. So node 1 and node 2 share the database in a clustered environment. So in node 1 includes service group A and service group B configured for the use of pyramid server. So if you see here, so node 1 we have a service group A and service group B. Node 2 we don't have any service groups. Only we have service only. Okay. So service group A is a group of adapters that are configured compatibly. So identically expert for pyramid server selection to achieve the load balancing and failure support. So here, so service group A is nothing but a group of adapters. So that are configured compatibly. Okay. So service group B is a group of adapters that are configured differently and cannot be used for load balancing and failover support. So service group A is used for the achieving the load balance and failover support, but whereas service group B is also group of adapters but is not used for the load balancing or failover support. So node 2 includes a service and adapter configured for the use of perimeter servers. So node 2, that is. Okay. Here node 1 and node 2 have two perimeter servers is configured there. So node 1 perimeter server configured. One is configured to communicate the service group A, and node 1 we have two perimeter servers, right, in node 1. So perimeter server A, perimeter server 1 and 2. So if you see here, we have a two perimeter servers, perimeter server 2 here. See, node 1 perimeter server 1 and perimeter server 2. So these two servers are configured to communicate using the service group A, whereas node 1 perimeter server and 2 is configured to service group B. Node 2 perimeter server configuration is only one configured, so that used for the single services. And node to perimeter server configuration 2 is communicate using a single adapter configuration. Whereas node 1 and node 2 is used to communicate with the service group A and B. Node 2 is used for the communication of single service, as well as node 2 and the perimeter server, second perimeter server used for the configuration of single adapter. So this DMG server has two perimeter servers configured. So if you see here, we have two perimeter servers are there. See here, 1 and 2. That's what they are saying. So this DMZ demilitarized zone has two perimeter servers configured. So one is configured with node 1 and perimeter servers are 1 and 2, and DMZ perimeter server configuration 2 is configured to the node 2 and 2 pyramid servers. Now 3 trading partners are configured to communicate via DMZ zone to the pyramid servers. Now trading partner 1 communicates with the DMZ server pyramid server 1, and trading partner 2 will communicate with the pyramid server 2, and then trading partner 3 will communicate with the pyramid server configuration 3. So if you see here, so trading partner 1 configuration 1, so trading partner 2 configuration 2. So like that it will be communicated. So here I would like to showcase you an example of how business process is routed through the preceding figure. Okay, so we have this one, right, like this one. So for example, trading partner 1 sends a message to your Gentron integration suite cluster or Sterling Integrator cluster. The message is sent through the DMZ pyramid server configuration 1, which communicates with the node 1 pyramid server configuration in your Sterling Integrated cluster. So the node 1 pyramid server configuration is configured for a service group A, which allows for the load balancing and failure support. And the first service configuration in the service group A is disabled. So that second configuration receives the message. So whenever service group A is disabled, so the second configuration receives the message that begins the process in the node 1 on your Sterling Integrator cluster. So service configuration is clustered, right? That's why. So if any problem is happened, disabled, and then it will begin the another node. So because the clustering is a way to control the load balancing and scale your systems. So node 1 is too busy processing other business process. Node 2 accepts and process the business process. So this is called the load balancing. So the more common network configuration pattern in Sterling Integrator is to reside the innermost secure network zone and the pyramid server to reside in the DMZ zone. So in this case, the connection should establish between Sterling Integrator to the pyramid server, that is from more secure towards the less network zone. In some cases, it is desirable for Sterling Integrator to communicate more on the security network zone. So in case you will want to establish the network connection from the pyramid server to Sterling Integrator, the following figure shows. So if you see here, these are the partners, partner 1, partner 2, partner 3 over a secure LAN, nothing internet. So coming to the perimeter server system. Here perimeter server is installed in the DMZ zone. So establishing a connection and the firewall, and then we are going to the establish connection to the Sterling integrator, and in reverse the Sterling integrator will send the data with the help of firewall. We have a perimeter server here installed, and then after the firewall also another perimeter server, and then sending back data to the trading partners. So before you can add pyramid server to SI, please have a note on install a pyramid server in the demilitarized zone. Know the host name and port number of the installed delimiter pyramid servers. So before adding actually, so we can add the pyramid server only when you have installed the pyramid server in our Sterling integrator. Okay, so how to install the jar file in our Sterling integrator means this is the one. So to install the jar file, we have a ps.jar, like in this ps service pack patch.jar. So we need to run this jar file system. Means in the system means Sterling integrator. So we need to run this jar file where we need to perimeter server using the command jar file. Actually install jar files. We need to give the name of the perimeter server, and we need to give the inherent configurations and foreign configuration with the port numbers, TCP address, DNS name. Okay, so some space allocated in the JVM. So the installation directory, you will find the install ps.cmd and start ps.cmd. Whenever after installations, we have like, usually we start and stop like start Windows service.cmd for Sterling integrator, right? That's how we have an install ps means the pyramid server and start ps pyramid server. So we have the same. start ps.cmd, stop ps service.cmd. To add a perimeter server in a Sterling integrator, you should go to the administration menu, select operations, and then perimeter server. So once the perimeter server page is added, in the next perimeter server, click on add and complete the all the details. So this is how the configuration is. Near end configurations, and then interface or IP, and the local port number, and the perimeter server is far end is nothing but less secure network zone, and then perimeter server host. So these are the following information which I need to add in our while your configuration the perimeter server. So please note, make a note of it. After installation Sterling integrator only you can all do configurations. So on successful installation of perimeter server, so we can see the perimeter server in the SI admin console, like operation system troubleshooter. Also you can see that perimeter server. And at the end of the page, we can find the install perimeter server with the name used while installing that. And also you can check the status. In general, we have the local perimeter server, okay, while installing SI only. Okay. So let me show you the. So now if you see here, we have discussed how to install the perimeter server, right? So now if you say this is the installation procedure for the perimeter server. So first of all, you need to get that perimeter server jar file from the Sterling integrator you have installed. Okay. So you should get that perimeter server from the folder where Sterling is installed. Okay. So this is a where Sterling is installed. So I'm checking. So it's not the fair. Yeah, the packages. So in this we have an here PS. So this is nothing but a perimeter server jar file. Okay. So this one you should bring here and you should run the jar file and install. So where is the help of Java? So in the program file Java under the bin. So you should run this perimeter server like java-jar and you need to give this one. Okay. To come to the Java file path. So in my system Java. Okay. And then you need to install it. So java-jar java-jar and you need to bring that path. So you need to run this jar file here. So it will take a couple of time. Okay, the product is So we have some issue here. The product is only supported on the Windows. So where I need to install in only server side only. Okay, I need to log on to my dashboard, but this is the procedure. Okay, so how to install that ps.jar file? Okay, so it will ask few questions. Okay, so like, so whether please enter the full path of the installation directory. So where you need to install our Sterling integrator, you should give the full path. Okay, like this. So after giving the full path, it will ask for the yes or no. So yes. So is the server is a less secure network than the integration server means. So just give Y and then address of the Sterling integrator is needed. So you should give the star means I have given everything, but in the real time you will get all the informations. And then the DNS name that is used by the local IP address with the port number. And then you should give the port so that they enter the port like 5500 is the port. And then maximum amount of heap space is located in the Java. So that's what I have to give as per your requirement. So after this installation of pyramid server is finished, to start the pyramid server, change the installation directory and run the startup script. So after the installation of Sterling perimeter server is completed, so you need to run that install ps.cmd the perimeter server as a Windows service. Okay. So if you where the perimeter service installed, right, we have this will come this type of services. So in the installation directory where you are given. So from there you should give the start ps.cmd. So install start ps service.cmd. Then only perimeter server will start. So whether it is started or not, you can check here. Like this is the services.msd, right? So whenever it is installed, it will be placed here like ps.jar as shown in the screenshot. See here. So we can check those services in the pyramid server started or not. You can check here. See, pyramid server, we have given our port number as 5500. So that is started. So once it is started, so after successful installation of the pyramid server, the next step is configuration the SI and then achieved by the following way. So how to do now the pyramid server in SI means go to operations and then pyramid server. So nothing button. So go to operations pyramid server. Here come to operations and then perimeter server. So now click on add to add the perimeter server. Okay. But it will not show for us because we didn't install, right? Okay. So we are installing the perimeter server, adding the perimeter server and provide the required configuration such as name of the perimeter server, host name, and then cluster node. So we'll give all the details. Click on next. So higher, low, watermark, inbound connection and outbound connections, and then click finish. Now a perimeter server will be shown in our Sterling integrator. Okay. So name ps underscore u plus. Here it is the interface or IP address as of now star only. Port number, I'm giving this dummy port number. Okay. So if it is cluster means you should drop down here. So 192 dot. Host please enter valid domain name or IP address. So I think this one. So perimeter server host and port number. Okay, and then we are giving here inbound connections and outbound connections, and then click on finish. Okay, so like this, a perimeter server will be added to your server when only you install the ps.jar file in the background. So now HTTP server after configuration. So you can configure. After this we need to configure HTTP server also for the perimeter server. Okay, because we need to add that perimeter server to here. So next, deployment services configuration, and then server HTTP server after. So server HTTP server after, right? So you need to add the new PS. So if you see this one, so for the server HTTP adapter, so click on next, provide the necessary configurations. HTTP listen port, provide the port, and the perimeter server is, so select the perimeter server that externally created. We have created, right? So that one you need to use it. Okay. So if there is a system, I guess for HTTPS connections, we are adding the like SSL certificate, and also we are adding the new URI. On next, we add the URI. Okay, and we will go through this. So click on next. So HTTP listen port. See here. So node 1 and local premise server name. So another one is node 1 and UPS UPA LAS. So this one will go with it. And then this document storage user location. And if you give the SSL security as must, means is nothing but HTTPS connection. You should provide some more informations. So now you need to add the, because it's HTTPS connection, right? Now we need to add the SSL certificate to this. So after that you need to create a new URI slash plus. So whether to invoke the business process or var file. So click on next. So send raw messages no, and BP sync made is no. So if you want, so next, which business process to execute, right? So just I'm giving any dummy BP. So we have created our URI. Click on next. So these are all the configurations which we have used. Okay, this is how the HTTP server adapter is configured. So in the perimeter server, so whenever the perimeter server is up and running, like ps.jar file, when you install your Sterling Integrator, and we need to add a perimeter server here like this. Okay, and also you need to configurations in our HTTP server adapter. And you can check the perimeter server status also here, like system troubleshooter. See here, perimeter server status here. Whether the perimeter server is status active or not. If you see here, enable disconnected, because we are unable to collect it. Okay, so the local is always enabled. And if you want to add anything else, you can come here and you can add here. Okay. So if you see here, so one of the perimeter server structure. So we have a different protocols. So like HTTP. So HTTP with port number 9033 and FTP with port number 9032 and SFTP with port 09039 and CD like a connect direct 9364. So we have a permit server installed inside the DMZ zone. We have two firewalls outside and inside. Okay. So here the permit server is port number is 1234. Okay. So and then services in active like in HTTP server adapter. So listens the port number 903, FTP this port number, SFTP this port number, CD this port number. So the Sterling integrator, the base port is 900. Send the files like this. So if it's an FTP means it's a passive mode, use the port number 2021, FTP out. So where it is used, this port number. So these are the different port number it is used using pyramid server architecture. Okay. If you see here, what are the requirements for the perimeter server? So you can install and run the perimeter server in the Unix or Linux or Windows Server environment. Okay. So you can install in the Windows or Linux, and perimeter server can be co-resident with Sterling Integrator or SI installations. Okay, can be installed on the remote servers. So to take full advantage of the security features of the perimeter server, so it should be installed on the different computer where Sterling Integrator is not installed. So install is supported by the same operating system, and then JDK combinations are Sterling integration suite only. So the operating system and JDK version the perimeter server uses did not need to match the operating system and JDK versions. Okay. So in addition that each perimeter server requires the minimum space, okay, as shown below. Okay. So these are the minimum requirements to install the perimeter server. So if you want to edit the perimeter server, okay. So if you want to edit the perimeter server, so after you add it, go to operations, perimeter server, we have an option called edit. So go there and you can send the far end configurations and near end configurations and high or low watermark pages. You can go and edit it. So just if I want to show here, see. So you come to perimeter server, right? So and then so this is the one we created. So come here and click on edit and do your new changes, and that's it. Okay. So edit in Unix environment. So Unix environment means so we'll have some first of all you need to run the stop ps.sh is nothing but some bash commands. So here in Windows means stop ps.cmd, and then go to the install directory like remote under perimeter.property files. So if you go there, and then only I think we will have this one also here in our this one also we'll have here perimeter.properties.in. So there in the remote underscore perimeter server, I think will be found there only in Unix only. So there you should give these values. So ps debug perimeter server underscore port, an internal underscore interface, external underscore interface, and maximum heap size and maximum location. And you need to save the remote.property files without changing the name. And then again you need to run the command called start ps.sh. Okay, this is for Windows. And for administrative view perimeter configuration, you already know. So go to administrator menu, operations and perimeter server, and then enable a perimeter server configuration in here. So you know, right? Enable and disable here. So come to troubleshooter, come to perimeter server status, see enable and disable. Okay. So if you enabled also, it's kind of disconnected because so you don't have any proper information here. So if you want to delete that configuration means you can come here and you can come to perimeter server, you can delete that one. So deletion. Okay, so how to delete the perimeter server configuration for Sterling Integrator and remove the remote server configuration in Unix means again you need to stop ch and you change in the property files only. So whenever you need to remove the from Windows environment means so stop the perimeter server.cmd and you need to run that uninstall ps.service. So if you see this in document, I hope you will find it. See this one, uninstall psservice.cmd. So first you need to stop psservice.cmd. After this one, you should run this uninstall psservice.cmd for removing. So if you want to check the logs of the perimeter server means, should come to the operation system logs and you need to check for the log like perimeter servers. So and then you can see all the logs. So like this, come to troubleshooter, operations, logs. Here you should find perimeter server. So there is no running, right? So that's why. So there is no perimeter server here. So each perimeter server write the logs in the installation directory is exact dynamics problem. So if you want any information, so perimeter server can be changed here. Okay. And the automatic create a perimeter system with internal state dump. Okay, it's all the admin connections. So if there is established perimeter server shows disconnected means unable to establish a connection means use the netstat command to verify the perimeter port number is listening or not. And then verify the firewalls between the Sterling integrated perimeter server is configured to allow this connection. And also Sterling integrator verify the configure to use this perimeter server. So these are the three different ways to trace it out. Okay. And that's it guys, all about the perimeter server. I have shared all the information which is aware and available with me. Okay, so thank you. So we will meet in our next session. Thank you so much.